Now recording. So, how did assignment 2 go? Did you guys get to the end?
Yep.
Good. So there were some. I had some questions about the seeds of destruction. The seeds of destruction break the whole thing, as you. So this is my perspective. If you took the time to make it so that that particular bug doesn't break the whole thing, even if you made a couple of swings at that and got it more or less successful, you're probably doing very well on the assignment if you had time to do that, right? Now there's no explicit marks for that, right? My perspective on that problem, this is my perspective. If someone is attempting to hack you, you don't have to take out the hack and otherwise deal with whatever they gave you, because that also might be an attempt at a hack, right? If someone's attempting to hack you, you don't have to worry that the hack breaks the system, right? The person who's responsible for that is the person who put the injection attack into the field in the first place, right? So you don't have to worry that it breaks the whole thing, because all you are responsible for that is that the script doesn't run, right? Now it's a little bit tricky because in certain browsers the script will be loaded as script, but the alert box doesn't pop up because some browsers are a little nitpicky about alert boxes themselves. But I can all I need to do is very quickly examine the source code and see if the script tag, DOM object was actually loaded as a script, right? You can check that in the HTML in the inspector very, very quickly and easily, and that's actually how I see if the script was loaded or not, rather than just seeing if the pop-up comes up. So yeah, but yeah, you don't have to worry about it breaking. Also, there's one character in one of the descriptions that causes a similar problem.
Yes.
Yeah, there's an ampersand in there somewhere. Yeah. I apologize. That one was on me. Good. Any other questions, comments, or concerns about assignment 2? I kind of let everybody off the hook for getting CS Unix uploads on assignment 1 because everybody was having so much difficulty with it. However, I would like everybody to get assignment 2 uploaded. Please and thank you. So this time I am going to be checking for that. So please make sure that sometime before, we'll see, maybe even tomorrow, please make sure that you get your CS Unix upload done before I take a look at it to grade it. I know the midterm's on Wednesday, so I think what I'm going to try to do is see if I can get the assignment 2 graded tomorrow, and that way you can see how you're sitting, get your feedback before the midterm, which may be helpful. I can't make any promises, but that's what I'm going to try to do. Okay? Fair enough?
Fair enough.
Very good. Any questions? Shall we talk about the midterm then? All right. So the midterm will be held during our next class on Wednesday. Some of you will have seen over the break, if you were paying attention to your announcements feed, you will have seen that you guys are permitted a cheat sheet. Now, I think probably you guys have you guys written a test with a cheat sheet before? Yeah, JavaScript? Is that everybody? Or, yeah, okay. You never know, these sections are sometimes mixed with a lot of people. And, okay, so if everybody's done a cheat sheet before, I'll go over it in summary rather than in full detail. You will be permitted one 8.5 by 11 or A4 piece of paper. That is appropriate, yes. It doesn't matter if it has lines and holes. Lines and holes are fine. If you want it to be printer paper, that's also fine as well. You may put on this piece of paper anything you please, so long as that is not more paper. Post-it notes are disallowed. But otherwise, you can write anything you like on your piece of paper. Now, there is something of an art form to cheat sheet generation. Looking at yours, I would actually say you can probably do better, because standing where I'm here, looking at it here, I can't tell where the sections are. Right? You want at-a-glance organization. Remember that the efficiency of your cheat sheet is the efficiency with which you can get information out of it during the test. So, group-like concepts, right? Make boxes, highlight things, bold and italicize things if you're making it on a computer, right? Make the information easy to access for yourself. Question?
I saw that there's a reference sheet at the practice quiz as well. Do we get a reference sheet in addition to a cheat sheet?
No.
Okay.
Yeah. So that reference sheet is probably a good thing to look at.
Okay.
However, I think I remember, like, historically speaking, that reference sheet was generally considered to be garbage by the students who had it at the time. I'll take a look through it. Certainly, be intelligent about what you pull onto your cheat sheet. Because you can write anything you like, you can also put honest-to-gum code examples on there. I don't recommend making them long. Keep them short and sweet. But there are a few things that you should definitely, anywhere that we've had code in the course that's been fairly samey, right? Like the line where you take input from the client, right, and you filter it, that's pretty much the same every time with some options, right? I expect everybody to get 100% on that on the test, right? No excuse not to. Unless, of course, you commit the gravest and most offensive sin possible by a human being. No, I'm not talking about fratricide or something like that. If you have the bloody chatbot generate your cheat sheet for you, I shall be severely disappointed, and you will deserve the grade that you get. I left feedback for lots of people on assignment 1. I'm also going to talk about, some pet peeves with assignment 1 since we're on the subject. Some of y'all didn't listen. All right? Some of you, not all of you, a fair number of you didn't do this, but a lot of you didn't even use the filter input function to filter your inputs. I remember saying in class at least 5 or 6 dozen times, this is the method to use. If you use anything else, you'll get marks deducted. Well, people chose to have their marks deducted. All right? And I think it's probably because people get the damned chat algorithm to generate things for them, and they don't even read it, and then they submit that. But there was one. Oh man, there was this one thing I saw. It wasn't common, but I did see it on, I think, 3 to 5, I can't remember how many, a significant fraction of the assignments I received. And I'm probably not talking to anybody in the room, but, if I am, shame on you. I saw some of this. Oof indeed. Now, first of all, quick quiz, quick test review. What's missing?
Filter.
The actual damn filter? Yes. Can I hear everybody say the actual damn filter? I'm kidding, of course. I'm not going to require you to cuss in class. Any of you goofballs know what this thing does if you leave the filter off?
Filter.
The default filter, which is basically wrong.
No say.
Yeah, the actual name of the actual filter that it's actually using in this case is called
Is filter wrong?
filter underscore unsafe raw. You nincompoops. Now, as internet security goes, don't use anything with the term unsafe in it. I can only assume that it was the chat algorithm that generated that monstrosity. This is actually worse, right? This is worse than not even filtering, because it gives the appearance of filtering without actually filtering anything. You look like you're safe, but you're decidedly in an unsafe state. It's the worst possible thing you could have in there. It's enough to trick somebody who doesn't know what they're doing, right? Which is all of you, because, or a reasonable fraction of you, because this is the first time you've done PHP. You've only been doing PHP for a month and a half or so. I know that I'm a professor, and that this is a class, and that it's like, you know, sometimes difficult to be able to rub the neurons together to listen to what I'm saying in class, but, you know, please, when I say umpteen gazillion times to use this method, don't give me that. This has actually become like my textbook, my new textbook case, my new best bad example for why you shouldn't just trust what the bloody chat algorithm gives you. And like, it doesn't sound like it, but I'm being charitable to people, assuming that the chat algorithm gave them that, and they didn't write that themselves. Now, what were we talking about? We were talking about cheat sheets in the midterm. Don't put that on your cheat sheet. So, I'm just going to put a little skull and crossbones right here. Symmetrical teeth. There we go. So, when you're designing a cheat sheet, make it so that the cheat sheet, you can look stuff up quickly in it, right? Have things divided by topic, headings, you know. There are, unfortunately, a lot of gotchas in the PHP language, right? Particularly having to do with type conversions and stuff like that. We all went over this last class, a lot of it. That's the type of stuff that you should put on a cheat sheet, right? Make sense? Very good. Creating the cheat sheet is the best studying that you will do for the test. Ideally, what you're doing is you're going through the information and you are summarizing it, right? This is the actual process by which I learn material to present it to you guys. All right? So, any questions? I think I probably said you can have a calculator, right? Yeah. You don't need a calculator, but you know, some people like use a calculator a little bit like Linus from the Peanuts uses the security blanket. So you can have your security calculator if you need it, but there's nothing on the test that like explicitly requires math, aside from like the programming itself, which is a form of mathematics. So, yes, any questions? All right.
Like, so this
Yeah.
is bad, but what if you do, like you commented that saying I'm doing a second filtering with actual sanitization. So like, you have the filter input here, and then there was like a filter var X with the actual.
There was like,
Because I had to do that for the JSON, because I couldn't.
yeah,
like,
oh
write it.
yes, there was one instance, I think yours was the one where you used this one, I think you probably used it explicitly though.
Yeah, and I commented it too.
Yeah, and like
Because like, the
you were
JSON
using
would
it,
break otherwise, and then so I was like.
you
okay.
needed the raw output for whatever it was you were doing, and like, it actually at that point, it doesn't really matter if you do this or like just read it directly from the super global,
Okay.
like you could have saved yourself some work. But yeah, no, in my grading script, I use a Linux command to extract every use of this and filter var and filter array so that I get a nice printout of every time you've ever attempted to filter anything. And if you filtered something twice, it appears twice in my list using different things, so you're fine.
Okay.
Yeah. I made sure I was barking at the correct people when I barked at them. Yeah, like I'm not saying there's no correct use of it, right? Like it exists in the language for a reason, as do all things. But like, you know, imagining you've filtered something when you haven't filtered anything is not just unwise, it's downright dangerous. So, all right. I guess on the subject of the test more generally, the test is designed to occur inside of a 2-hour block. So the test itself will be 110 minutes in length. The exact number of questions and point values of questions is something I historically have never disclosed, and I see no reason to start doing that now. It's a test. Be prepared for a test. People usually try to use that to judge the test's difficulty, but that's foolish because they're not good metrics of test difficulty. So, anything else? Bring your IDs, right? I'm going to be checking IDs. I think that we're going to be writing in the other room. Yes, yeah, not this. I think it's the one on in iWing, right? So yes, we actually have the databases course immediately afterwards, don't we? A lot of us. So you can probably anticipate a slight delay to the start of the database course. Not too much. We will still have the database course, but like I'll give you guys like some time to cool off.
You'll have a bunch of traumatized people in the databases.
Not necessarily traumatized. You'll be like, no, like, like in the second or third stage of grief, right? I expect to hear some bargaining, but yeah. No, it'll be fine. It'll be fine. If you've been, the thing I always say to students is that the best preparation for the test is the course itself. If you have been participating in the course so far, if you've been following what's been done in the lectures, if you have been doing the assignments faithfully and not cheating your way through them, then, you stand a pretty good chance on the test. That being said, this is also one of those courses in the same category as Java and JavaScript, as I'm sure all of you are aware. Over the summer, I think I failed 60% of the class in my section in this class, or something thereabouts. Or maybe this one was the one that was a 70. I forget. I had 3 courses. One had like a 40% failure rate, the other one a 50, the other one a 70. I teach the fun courses. You ever get that impression? So, yeah, don't worry, because like that doesn't mean anything. because if you study and do well, you'll pass. Oh, if you have aptitude. Aptitude is the other thing you need. Question?
Are you gonna have line numbers for your solution, or how many lines?
I think, yes, I believe I think I remembered to put those in consistently. If, I think I put them in, yeah. Yeah. It's always like, but did I remember to put them in on every question? Because, there are like multiple versions, and anyway, I think I did. The big ones anyways, yeah. Oh, there you go. That's one piece of information that I will disclose. There is not one coding question on the test where the code that you are supposed to produce, nominal solution, my nominal instructor solution, which doesn't contain any like fancy line saving stuff like ternaries, not one of them exceeds 25 lines of code, right? Every solution you give will be under 25 lines of code. I feel that's a reasonable length to ask of someone. It's like about, if you'd use the full thing, it's maybe like, 3/4 of a page written. And I usually provide more space than that. You don't have, whenever I provide numbers like that, you are under no obligation whatsoever to like actually, you're under no obligation to like meet that or get under it, or like, I'm not grading for the length of the code. I'm grading it for whether it works, right? You'll have to wait for data structures and algorithms for them to get that nitpicky, right? But if it works, it's good. I don't care how long it is. But of course, always keep in mind that the longer your code is, the more surface area you have for bugs to live on it, right? But that's okay. Any questions? Really? Everyone's going to pass then? No? Okay. Optimism is cowardice. All right? If you feel worried about this test, good. Use that energy to study. All right? Man, there was one exam when I was in university. I literally only got through the exam because I really had to use the bathroom. That's a true story. 3-hour exam, and I like my eyeballs were swimming, and that was the only reason I finished the exam. And I passed the course, so there you go. And it was kind of like in something adjacent to what I was studying, not my forte. But, it was statics, actually. I studied robotics as my undergraduate, so I took a lot of courses that were kind of broadly spread. Tips for working with Respondus.
Oh.
I got a tip for working with Respondus for you. Write paper tests, you dummies. I don't know. I actually did the thing. I actually buttoned my shirt into my thing. There we go. Question?
So for the exam, how many questions are on the exam?
I never answer how many questions there are in the exam. People normally use that to try to gauge how difficult the exam is. I could literally set you 2 questions and it would take you 6 hours, right? It's not and also like number of points isn't a good one either. Some courses like points are very plentiful, others they are, smaller. In neither case does that have any effect whatsoever on difficulty, right?
Yeah, I remember in JavaScript last semester for the exam, you have the short answers at the beginning and then the long answers at the end. And I guess from most exams you think, okay, they warm up with the easy questions and they gradually get harder. Not for JavaScript. I found the long answer ones to be the easiest ones.
Okay. All right. I will reveal a couple of things about the structure of the test. because this is, like, for anybody who, like, wrote JavaScript with me in previous semesters, the test is formatted very similarly to the JavaScript test. It's the type of test I write, right? So I'll tell you a couple of things. There will be a short answer section to begin with. There will be a long answer section at the end. The long answer section is all coding questions. These questions that I said where not one of them exceeds 25 lines of code. I tend not to try to give you a lot of template code with those. It's just like, describe the algorithm, please write it. I find like, I want to try to reduce the amount you have to read on the test, right? Giving you a whole bunch of HTML that you have to plug stuff into, it's just kind of extra reading sometimes. The short answer questions will weight more on theory, right? Obviously, if you have like PHP gotchas, they're going to be in the short answer section, right? That kind of stuff. Short answer questions are typically either like true short answer, which is write me a sentence or two. I tend not to assign like essay type questions. I won't give you half a page to answer a question because normally, like, if you don't know it in 2 or 3 sentences, you don't know it. So that type, on this type of test, I don't normally do multiple choice because it's a bit too simplistic or, you know, not high enough weight. However, I do like matching questions and I like ordering questions. I will often do a question where you have, I give you some code and you have to like annotate it in some way, right? I like the bug fix questions lately, you know? It's like, here's some code, fix the bugs, right? And yeah, another question type that I like is, here's some code, what's the output, right? You had a question?
So I was looking at the solutions, and for one of the questions about cookies, the answer was wrong, I believe. So I want to know, do we have any sort of guarantee that the questions on the solution are right?
No. The only guarantee you have is the trust and faith that you put in me.
Also, cookies aren't
But
gonna be
this is why, in general, I hand the test back, and you can review your tests afterwards and make sure that you've been marked appropriately. Midterms, like the marked midterm is extremely useful feedback to students, so I normally let you guys have it. But yeah, I have to take, that actually kind of brings us to the subject of today's class. I was gonna like, we were gonna do the practice midterm.
It was solution A. It was an ordering question on process between client and server request response. And there's no copy of that. I hope it keeps.
Oh yes. Yeah. Well. All right. I'll put it to you this way. There's an error in the solution to this one. If you can find it, that's good studying.
Oh, okay.
Boom! Ha! So, this is one of mine. So this is going to be not too far off the format of the test as you're going to see it. Yeah, this is one of my tests. So, oh wait, wait. I've got an A, a B, a C, and a D. How many people want A? How many people want B?
Whoa.
How many people want C? How many people want D? I think B won actually.
I've seen them all.
Yeah, okay. There we go.
How?
So, consider the following PHP program. Wait, before we get into this, are there any further questions? All good? All right. Then if anything occurs to you, just put your hand up. I'd be happy to answer. So, consider the following PHP program. Yeah. What is the outputted result of this program? We have x is 5 centimeters, y is 20 centimeters, z is equal to x times y. X times y yields z. What is the output?
5 centimeters times 20 centimeters.
I'm gonna say 100,
That's
just
not-
100.
that's not
The
contaminated.
centimeters is wrong.
Yeah, I'm gonna say centimeters is wrong. 'Cause it's-
Yes.
'cause it's
But-
100.
It's not
You must be careful, because the output is a string, right? 5 centimeters times 20 centimeters yields.
Oh, for freak's sake. Oh, the entire
Right?
thing is in this, yeah. I see.
You must think like the computer, right? What many of you just made was a mental approximation that many humans make. Like, well, clearly Z is the point of this program, that's what you're after. It's like, no, I asked you, what is the output of the program, not what is the value of Z, right? So, but yeah, you're absolutely right.
That's not.
Z is 100. Can anybody tell me why?
Oh, because it's okay.
So,
Yes, sir.
Okay, the PHP just parse it automatically. So
Mhm.
take the first numbers and just the letters, the centimeter, just rip off them.
That is what it does,
Y
yes.
and 20, yeah.
Yeah, so what it's doing to convert these strings into numbers,
Oh,
it takes however many numeric characters there are, and it stops converting when it encounters the first non-numeric character. So, the integer version of x is 5, the integer version of y is 20, right? So if you put down 100 centimeters, you're making a mistake, right? Another important piece to this puzzle, multiplication in PHP is an operation on numbers. It is not defined for strings, right? So, because this is an operation on numbers, it will typecast all or both of its operands to that type before it proceeds. Does that make sense? It's like if I had a plus there, it wouldn't do concatenation, right? That's an interesting question actually. If I replaced this with a plus, what would the output be?
But still,
5?
5 seconds, yeah.
No, 5 centimeters
Okay.
plus 20 centimeters yields
25.
15. Wait, 15? No, 25.
15.
I think it's 15 on a different copy version. And anyway, I can't remember. This was like a whole year ago I did this test. Good grief. You don't expect. Oh man. So I've been like collecting up my test. Each of my test questions, each of my precious pretty little test questions is a separate LaTeX file in like a subfolder in the directory that I use to generate the tests with using my very fancy LaTeX test, document generation system. I like tallied up like how many of these files I produced like over the last academic year, and it was like close to 300. It was great because I'm keeping a database of these things now. So, yeah, I got a whole system, man. Okay, next question. Consider the following program. I consider tests to be one of my strengths as an educator. They're like, oh, that's the worst thing you could have said. Consider this program. The phrase, 100 divided by get in greater than 1, this part should result in a 0 division error if the value of get in is 0. But this error does not occur. Why?
Because short circuit evaluation, it passes the first part of the conditional, so it goes through, it skips the rest.
Right. This first part, it requires that the value coming in is not 0 before it does the rest. If this comes out false, it simply does not execute the rest of the guard. This is known as short circuit evaluation. It's a thing that lots of languages do, actually. I'm pretty sure Java does it as well. I'm certain that C does it. Good. Any questions? Oh, this one's one of my fun. This is one of my fun questions. All right. A social media platform allows users to post comments on other people's profiles. Unfortunately, the comment feature is vulnerable to cross-site scripting attack. Malignant Mel the evil hacker sends .matrix such a comment, containing the following JavaScript code, which sets up a keystroke blocker to run on Dot's browser. There you go. Oh man, you guys picked the best. This is the best test, actually. B is the best test. So, here you go. It doesn't actually matter what this script is or does, you know? I believe that's not really relevant to the question. It's just, oh look, that's a keystroke logger. In case you didn't know, this is what a keystroke logger looks like, right? All it's doing is like, anytime a key is pressed, it sends an AJAX, well, I mean, it's using XML HTTP request, but it's basically a fetch request, right? And it's just sending like the stolen key press, and then, you know, basically every time you type on the keyboard, that character gets sent to an evil server that reconstructs everything that you've got, right? So, after a couple of weeks of monitoring, Mel has obtained a great deal of personal information about Dot, including the fact that she is engaged in an extramarital love affair with her tennis instructor. Mel then uses this information to blackmail Dot periodically over a period of 4 years. Give 3 things that could have been done to prevent this unfortunate outcome. What are 3 things that could have been done? You did the last one. Yes?
You should not have even started the extramarital law.
Yeah, don't you?
I gave like 4 out of 6 marks if anybody said that. That was like one person said that, but yeah, don't have the affair in the first place. That would have prevented the whole thing. Very good. But like security-wise, computer security-wise, how could we have prevented this? Yes?
Filtering input?
Yes. So first of all, why is this thing vulnerable to XSS attacks in the first place? It's not actually stated here, right? But obviously, like, filtering your inputs, right? But what's some other things we could have done? Assuming that Dot is having the affair, what could Dot not have done?
Just a completely different website, an application, a
Well-
safe there application, right?
Yes, well, like, if you're having an affair, don't write about it on the internet.
Yeah, like,
No, like, I know this sounds silly, but it's actually, like, an important, like, consideration in security. It's like, if you have personal information,
don't write it.
don't put it on the internet, right? Like, if that information was never on the internet in the first place, it would never have been leaked, right? So that's another one. Filtering the or the attack. Yeah, I feel like Porky Pig. So, what type of attack is this? Is this a reflected attack or a stored attack?
Like,
This is a stored attack. You know it's a stored attack because in the description, you're talking about posting comments on people's websites. Comments are stored on the server, right? So this is a stored XSS attack, right? So there are actually 2 points at which we can filter, right? Number 1, we should certainly filter anything that goes into the database, but number 2, we should also be filtering everything that comes out of the database, right? Security exists in layers, right? 1 layer of security is good. 5 layers of security is much better.
You want the Swiss cheese model.
Exactly, right. If there's a hole in 1 layer, then hopefully, the holes in the next layer don't line up to the holes in the previous, right? Although, if you cut all of your Swiss cheese from the same block, but yes,
This attack would only work if the comment is actively rendered in the browser, right?
that's right.
Okay, so like, don't type stuff while you have your comments open, kind of stuff. Like, if you have other untrusted websites open, don't type in your banking details and stuff.
Yes, although I'm pretty sure like individual tabs would be sandboxed
Okay.
to the point where that would, like having, I don't think cross tab you have to worry about it.
Just on the same tab.
Yeah, like not at least like in current year, like Netscape Navigator maybe you had to worry about that, but yeah. Any other questions? Yes.
Is the social media platform loading every comment that you already have in your profile?
So
Because I suppose there's gonna be a time that it's just not gonna load the old messages in your profile.
let me
So that's a problem in that case because it's set for several weeks. Like it's
Yeah.
a really long time.
Yeah, we're starting to poke on this scenario to the point where it's starting to fall apart a little bit. So imagine this was like a pinned comment or something, right?
Right.
Like in general, like for example, the little I haven't used like the Twitter/X in probably 10 years, so I don't know like what's going on with that. But like I remember back in the day when you wanted to like make a post, you'd just say, I want to do a post please, and then pop up a little pop-up, and you typed in the pop-up and then off it goes, right? If the code for the tweets on your thing are there while you're typing the comment, this could happen, right? But yeah, in order for this attack to work, this infected comment needs to be rendered on screen. It's not impossible to have it happen that way. We're kind of not given a huge number of details about this fictitious, social media website, but make sense?
But if I put one of the answers to make the website no load all messages, will that be a correct answer or no?
To load all messages? Sorry.
Like, what I wanted to say is, if I put as an answer
Yeah.
that make the website not loud, like you reach a point where all messages don't display in the website in the browser,
Sure.
would that be a correct answer?
Yeah, actually, I would, like, with a question like this, it's fairly open-ended. If people gave me something that kind of half made sense, I was looking for 3 things, right? So 6 points, 2 marks per thing, right? If you said something that was kind of like half made sense, you got 1 mark. If you'd said something that was complete and utter tripe, you didn't get anything. And if you said something that was like, pretty close to like correct, people get an incorrect impression about me. I don't actually have to work that hard to fail people, right? Like the bracket of acceptable answer is broader than you would think, especially when the question's open-ended like this, right? Mostly I'm trying to just beat out people who have no idea what they're talking about, which unfortunately is around half the class most of the time. Statistically speaking. All right. Do you want to do some of the other questions of this type on some of the other ones? Because they're like the scenarios are fairly different across the 4 versions. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. All right. I think I've got A up, so yeah.
What's this?
All right. An online bank uses a live chat feature to communicate with the customer support team. Unfortunately, the chat feature has an XSS vulnerability. Dirty Dan, the evil hacker, sends Kelly, the customer support person. Anybody get the reference? No? Yeah? Kelly from The Office is the customer? Yeah. All right. Sends the customer support person a link with an embedded XSS attack while pretending to inquire about a login issue. It contains this. Image source is equal to hahagotcha.com/steal cookie. All right? So hopefully you can get from reading that code that the cookie is being stolen. Oh, and by the way, we have not covered cookies yet. They're not on the test. Okay? No sessions, no cookies. We're having the test a little bit earlier in the semester, this semester. Although I understand that I couldn't have picked a worse week for it for you. I'm sorry. So, anyway, the image is a screenshot of a login error issue. This message executes on Kelly's computer. Gasp! And Dan steals Kelly's session cookie. Due to Kelly's advanced privilege levels, Dan is able to obtain the account details of many, many customers before the breach is discovered. What are 3 things that could have been done to prevent this unfortunate outcome? Unfortunately, I forgot this. We haven't really done session hijacking yet, so this is basically just guesswork for you guys. But I'd love to hear your guesswork. Yes.
Maybe Kelly shouldn't have advanced privilege levels?
That's a fantastic answer. Why does the customer support person have access to all of these accounts? Yes.
Sanitizing the inputs of script can't be put in.
Yes, absolutely. Just block the XSS attack, and none of this happens. Anything else?
Don't be clicking on suspicious links.
Don't be clicking on suspicious links? Well, in this case, it's a little difficult, right? Because it's been embedded in an image. That's like I don't know how many times, when I'm trying to help a student with a login issue, I go out and ask for the screenshot. Because often they're using an uppercase S instead of a lowercase s for the username on CS Unix and stuff like that. So I can't even necessarily fault Kelly for viewing this image in this case, right? It's not the same thing as you didn't spot the dirty link in the email, right? There are a couple of other things that you can do server side. Yes?
Also possibly having better cybersecurity courses at the company to avoid phishing attempts.
Yes. Yeah. The social engineering angle. Yeah. There are a couple of things you can do on the server, though, to also mitigate against this type of attack. We're going to talk about this when we talk about sessions, but regenerating your session ID frequently also limits the amount of damage that someone can do once a session hijack has occurred, right? If the cookie's only good for half a minute, they can only do half a minute's worth of damage, right? So, make sense? All right, let's keep going. I'll leave this one as an exercise to the reader. The following web application does not produce the expected output due to errors in the code. Identify and correct 5 such errors. You may write on the code itself. So the form that I'm expecting for this is if you notice, well, I found one. Did you guys find one?
It's a very interesting looking submit button.
Yes.
Try to
There's
point
an
it out.
option.
Yeah, sure.
Okay,
Factorial is
so
not-
input get, the factorial should be in quotation marks.
Yep.
Yes. So, to answer this question on the test, you pencil in the, and also, okay, can I make a request, a special request? Can everybody bring a red pen, or some alternate color other than black? That would be fantastic. Yeah, so just like pencil in the quotes. If you circle it, it's like, okay, he's definitely not gonna miss that, right? Yes,
That's not how you define a function in PHP.
that's
Yeah.
also true.
Yeah, that's
What
Python.
language is that?
That's Python.
That's Python, baby. That's right. Anything else?
The input is,
HTML,
the input is missing some stuff.
yeah, the form needs an action and a method, right?
Frame,
The form definitely needs an action and a method. Yep. Also, there's a problem with this line.
Yeah,
That's
submit
not a
button looks
click
very weird.
Yeah.
Mainly that it's not a submit button.
Yes. Question?
The while loop in the PHP will also error due to the error in the guard.
Yes.
like you made that.
Greater than two. Oh yeah, I want to count for
There is a
specific.
Yes.
function, the fear value.
Yeah.
Parse the thing.
Good. Yeah, so basically for a question like this, if you encounter one, circle the error, provide the correction, and move on with your life. Fair enough? Good, good? Okay. Ordering question. Order the following steps which describe how cookies work. I'm going to skip that because we haven't talked about cookies. All right. This one, though, this is applicable. This is having to do with file I/O. Luigi writes a program which reads the file, never going to give you up.csv. But when he attempts to use fgetcsv to read the file contents, he gets strange output. However, if instead he reads the entire file into a string and uses JSON decode on it, the file is fully intact. Explain. You have an answer.
And it's probably not actually CSV, the file extension means nothing, it's probably JSON.
That's correct. The file has the wrong file extension. The file inside the file, the contents are JSON encoded, not CSV encoded. That's why JSON decode works on it, because it is JSON. But the file extension is the error, basically. Question?
Is there ever a scenario where PHP would care about the file extension, or does it just regard everything as a string?
It regards everything as a string. Basically, if it's looking for file extensions, it's because you put something in that looks for file extensions. Normally file extensions are only important to the type of programs that, like, I want to say like user mode programs. Like Word has to care about file extensions because it only works on Word documents, right? Or like it has this list of file extensions that it accepts, and if you're not one of those, it gives you an error.
Or any image editor.
Right, or any image editor. Like, our own programs that we write are different. Most of the time, the file name is actually hard-coded into the program itself. So we don't really have to worry. Like, we don't even need a file extension at all. It's just there for documentation, basically. Does that make sense? Yeah. Good. Any other questions? So, examine the following PHP script. Query equals get search, results equal query database query, echo results for query, echo results. The code above has a vulnerability. Which line is vulnerable?
2.
4? 2.
It's not filtering.
That will be 2 and 3.
This is an interesting point of debate, right?
Yeah.
This vulnerability requires 2 lines to work, right? We have this one where we're not filtering, but like the actual thing that puts the attack on the web page is that one, right? So when I was marking this, I accepted either, right? Just don't say this one. Because it was basically, it's like, what is the type of attack here? Just because it says database doesn't mean it's an SQL injection attack. right? That was a red herring. Does that make sense? Any questions about that one?
It's not specified.
Rewrite the vulnerable line to eliminate any vulnerabilities. So basically, like, you know,
Okay.
if somebody penciled in like the filter input line here, that was worth 2 points. Make sense? This is pretty close to your minimal working example of an XSS attack. Give two things on the can happen on the client to break a session. We don't have to worry about that because we are not testing on sessions. Yes. Good. Coding questions now. 5 points. Write a PHP script which receives a parameter named dwarf status from an incoming post request. The incoming data has an expected type of string. If the status is happy, output, the dwarves are input. Otherwise, output, the dwarves are in a strange mood. Be sure that your inputs have been properly validated and that your code is not vulnerable to XSS attack. So, this is basically 5 points for did you put the filter input lines and like the associated if statements on your cheat sheet. That's what this is. You want me to just do it? Yeah? Okay.
Would you exclude anyone who writes filter sanitized string?
Well, yes. Oh, thank you for reminding me of how many people did that on the assignment too. Okay, how many times did I say in class, use special chars, don't use sanitized string? How many times did I say that?
Yes, 20.
Yes, at least 20. Probably 20 or 30. And I said, don't use it, it's deprecated. Don't use it, it's deprecated. Don't use it, it's deprecated. What do I get? Like a third of the class uses it. It's like, I might as well be talking to a wall. Except for the people that actually listen. You guys are great. All right. All right. So, incoming parameter named dwarf status, incoming post request. So, dwarf status is equal to filter input. Which one am I using? Input post, very good. Dwarf status. Filter sanitize special chars.
Oh, I have a question. Are we allowed to like shorten this sort of stuff when we're writing the exams? So, like filter, sans, spec, char?
Sure. Yeah. I will permit Java-esque, Java test-esque abbreviations, so long as it's clear what you mean. Yeah, if you want to say like FSSC, right? I'll know what you mean. Yeah. Just make sure that it looks like, you know, don't just write filter, you know. All right. So, we now must validate what has been filtered. A very squeaky marker.
Do we not use like strong equality for this?
Yes, that was a test. Good job.
just do if this equals happy, do this, else don't.
Well,
Or would you prefer
see,
to
I
do
would
negative?
consider outputting an error message
Okay.
to be part of proper validation.
Okay, fair.
Yeah. I'm not even exaggerating it. This is just how squeaky that it is. Everybody on the tape's gonna wonder what we're talking about. Echo, well, whatever it was, right? Else, echo, the other one, right? Fill in the blanks. Ooh, speaking of filling in the blanks, I have like an announcement that I put up for databases that still has like the replacement text in it.
Yep.
Awful. I apologize. Let me just fix that now. But how do I edit this? I mean, there? Yes, there we go. So it will be held Wednesday, October 29th, in room at, what time does the class start again? Is it like 4? I think it's 4. Yeah. 4 p.m. in room, the cold one. It's like H0002 or something. Lots of zeros. The sub basement. In the modules. Save.
Wait, the midterm isn't this week?
Not for databases. It's next week.
Oh, I thought we had 3 midterms, that's what I said. Oh,
No.
oh.
3 midterms, just what's it?
Okay, my heart attack is considerably, my chance of getting a heart attack is considerably lessened.
Okay, good.
I wouldn't be
Oh my gosh.
It's not free.
But not all on the Wednesday, right?
2 on Wednesday.
2 on Wednesday.
I thought we had 3 on Wednesday, oh my god.
Wow, like, should we just, like, actually just write off the class? Like the databases class? If you got 2 bloody...
Yep.
I mean,
See, the problem is, like,
I mean, I could also use
the lab is important, though. You know?
It could be a good palette
But
cleanser.
the lab is not on Thursday?
No, the lab is on Thursday morning, right? If you guys are okay with me doing the lecture material Thursday morning during our, like, I think it's a 3-hour slot, I'll try to be as quick as possible. I'll let you off the hook for the Wednesday lecture section. Is that, yeah? Should we put it to a vote? All right. I know there are people not here, but like, oh well. Yeah. Okay. That'll be the unofficial policy until it becomes official by an announcement. I mean, like, what am I going to be able to teach you after you've done 2 midterms? I ask you. What will you absorb? You know? You'll absorb nothing.
Actually, mid-sem, class mid-sem.
Yeah, it's between 2
Oh, so I'm getting rid of the sandwich class?
Yeah.
Oh man. So you've got like,
For PHP.
so you've got like,
The database, and then there's the software testing.
you've got like a slab of shale. You had like the squidgy material in between that would have been databases. and then another slab of shale, and I've just removed the squidgy bit in between. You just have two pieces of shale, right?
Yep.
Well, that should be like, yeah, okay. We'll make this official policy. You guys can go. We'll pick it up on Thursday. All right. What are we talking about? Yes, this thing. That's A. This is B. There we go. By the way, if you're interested in the difference between the A and the B version for that question, it was kind of similar. Basically, the difference was you're taking an integer instead of a string, and like doing a really simple stupid loop with the integer rather than an if statement. At this point, I feel like a simple if statement and a simple loop should be about the same level of difficulty for you guys. You guys have had enough practice by this point. So, good. All right, let's keep going. The file words.txt contain this would be a very, this is a good exercise, as well as a test question. The file words.txt contains every word in the standard English dictionary, with one word per line. You may assume that these words are in dictionary order, that is, lexicographic ordering. I just put that in so you guys knew what lexicographic meant. For example, write a PHP script which responds with the number of words which have the substring anti. So, as in antibiotic, antimatter, and also romanticize. Note that the key phrase can occur anywhere in the word. Right? So, you guys wanted me to just do it? Yeah?
We can.
There are there are 3 other versions of this question which are all very good exercises as well. So, number 1, you want me to change markers, right? Oh, hey! Let's see if this one's any better. Oh, there we go. I bet you can even read that at the back, eh? So, what's the first step?
Probably need a counter variable. So I think I just can initialize a dollar count
You
0.
want to open the files.
I'm going to put a pin in that one. We want to open the file.
And then you want to close it in there?
Yes. Never forget to close. F open.
We don't need a dollar sign.
Oh yeah, that's true.
That was one of the mistakes in the solutions, actually.
Yeah. I don't know if people even actually use my solutions. I know I don't. No. We want the file name, words.txt. We want to open that in read mode R, very good. There we go. We have our file handle. Now, as with any other file I/O question, there are 2 main approaches. The first, load the whole thing into memory all at once, process it as you would a regular string. Number 2, read it 1 line at a time. I'm trying to point towards one of those with this question. Can you pick it up?
1 word per line.
I think you just do end of string.
Well, you can just load the whole string, but it actually ends up being more complicated. if you load the whole string,
No, I meant doing a loop that runs until end of stream.
sorry, what'd you say?
I mean, like, doing a loop that runs until the end of stream.
The end of stream, sorry,
Not
yes, I thought you
string,
said
end
end
of
of string, yeah.
End of stream.
Yeah, so, yes. The FEOF gated while loop, which actually doesn't require a counter. If you used the, the magic phrase file get contents, you would then be presented with the problem of splitting the file up into its individual tokens in order to process them individually. Not impossible, but it's extra lines of code that you didn't need to put in there if you just dealt with the thing one line at a time, because it is one line per thing, right? Make sense? So, we're doing something fairly simple here, right? We're literally just the number of words. Oh, yes, we leave that counter for that. I thought you meant like to go through the array.
No.
Yeah, okay. Yes, we'll definitely need that. I rescind my previous comment. Count 0. There we go. Now, while not file end of file handle. Oh, and don't forget your F close. Anytime you put an F open in, put F close at the bottom, there's a mark for that, right?
We lose marks if we don't like fully do all the brackets correctly.
What brackets?
You know, like when you do it like an if statement, you need like the curly braces.
Not in the coding part, no. So in general, same rules as a long Java question apply. I'm not marking for like minute details of syntax. You'll have proven to me that you know how to do that if you can pick out errors in a piece of code I give you, right? So long as your syntax errors aren't so bad as to obscure what the program is supposed to be, we're fine. I don't care about mismatched braces or, the occasional wrong type or missing quote character or stuff like that. This type of stuff I do care about, type errors, right? Using functions that don't exist, using functions as if they produced something they don't, right? That kind of stuff, that's the stuff I'm concerned with. Make sense? Good. So, while, file, end of file handle, line is equal to fgetS file handle, there we go, we read the line. Next, if, how do we search? We could use a loop, that's true. You're doing too much work though. Looking at my string functions. PHP does this fun thing where, like, in its documentation, if it's a search algorithm, they'll call, like, needle and haystack, the thing it's searching and the thing it's searching through. So, return part of haystack after needle. As long as that's non-zero, right? That's one way to approach it.
I think there's an
I think there's
actual-
string pos, like POS, I think.
I think there's string contains,
Yeah,
which
string
are just
contains?
return a boolean.
String contains is a later version of PHP.
Hmm. I'd probably still accept it on the test though.
String false, and then if it's wrong, it's still
Yeah.
false.
So, this would be the ideal one to use that's compatible with your current assignment. Don't even get started on me. Anyway, str-pos, string position. Again, haystack needle, thing you're searching through, thing you're searching for. Finds numeric position of the first occurrence of needle in the haystack string. That's an interesting and terrifying thing to read. Return value returns the position of the needle if it exists relative to the beginning of the haystack string. Returns false if the needle was not found. So
if not false, it contradicts them.
yes, and are we using weak or strong equality? Let me hear it all at once. Good. Why?
You know what, I didn't
See how
Yes.
this says?
More specifically though,
Finds it at index 0.
exactly. Take for example, antibiotic. Here the search would return 0 and that would be correct because it's the prefix, right? The position at which it occurs is position 0. If that's testing as the same thing as false, then you're going to basically get a false negative anytime you get a 0, which is a problem, right? So, if string position in haystack of needle anti is not strongly equal to false, count plus plus, that looks like TT, there we go, count, and that's it, then you just echo it. Oh, that's not the right type of brace. Not too bad, right? And that was an 8-point question. Like there are no questions? I can move on? Yeah? Good. The other versions, like it's generally true the other versions are worth doing, but in this question in particular, the other versions are worth doing. They each ask you to find like some kind of different thing in a different way. Now they aren't all that similar. Like the frame is similar, but like the stuff you're doing in the middle kind of changes. Alright, let's see here. Question 3. Use the fruits and quantity arrays below to construct an associative array mapping from fruits to their respective quantities. Oh, I remember this now, yes. Like we'd only just covered sessions and cookies. So I said, don't worry kids, we won't do any coding questions on sessions and cookies. But fair game for the first part of the test. That's what, I remember that now. That's why there's nothing on sessions here, but you know, the joke's on them because like sessions are actually really, really easy for coding questions. That's okay, this is the harder stuff anyway. So, use the fruits and quantity arrays below to construct an associative array mapping from fruits to their respective quantities. The new array should be named baskets. You must use the provided arrays to populate baskets. No marks will be awarded for hard-coded values. Guess what I got a lot of on this test? That's right, hard-coded values. If, while constructing the array, you find a fruit has been duplicated, add the new quantity for that fruit to the existing quantity for that fruit in the array. So you can see we have fruits, apple, banana, cherry, orange, pineapple, and cherry. Quantities as given. you can see cherry occurs twice, right? In other languages, Haskell particularly, you would call this a zipping operation. You kind of zip things together to form a tuple, and then you unzip them to get the things out, you know. It's getting hot in this room, isn't it? It's like, ugh. All right. Let's see here. Anybody need this? Oh, come on, Expo. You're not supposed to do this. The Expo markers are usually better than this. I guess people were complaining that they were drying out too fast. Which is true. They do dry out too fast. All right. So, a couple of ways you can do this. Easiest way, though, is to use a loop, right? Initialize an empty list, right? Remember that in PHP it's count. Just kind of arbitrarily picking the first one. Now, we want to write this value into the array, but if it already occurs, we don't add it as a new value, we add to the existing value. It turns out that it's actually slightly easier to add to an existing value than to add a new one. But in either case, what test do we need to perform first?
If the element already exists, you need to do it.
So how do we check to see if something exists in an array?
Is set.
Is set, that's right. So, if I'm going to invert it and say is not set, right? Not is set. Array at fruits at I. Lots of braces. You guys should be used to lots of braces by now. You've been through Java, you've seen braces. If it's not in the array, we put it there. Right? Else, basically copy that whole line out, change this to a plus equals. Right? Make sense? And then does it ask to output it? No, it doesn't say to output it. So one intelligent question that I received, what if these two arrays are of different sizes? And my answer at the time, if you don't have enough, basically take whatever subset of these two things, take however many existing pairs they are, you can still assume they're in order, right? So if I have, if I have A, B, C, D up here, but only 1, 2, 3 down here, just take this section, right? So that makes this a little bit more complicated than is given here, right? If, for I less than count fruits, and I less than count of quantities. Right? Make sense? So as soon as we run out of quantities, we also terminate the loop. Does that make sense? Any questions about that?
Would you not just give it like default of 0?
Which one?
Like so in that example, A, B, C, D, would you not just initialize a 0 for that?
Honestly, I was pretty lenient with people did that. It's a little ambiguous in the question, so normally if the question's ambiguous, I'm lenient on that point when I'm grading it. But yeah, that's that one. Hopefully you've been noticing that all of these code examples aren't that long, right? Don't waste time. Java wastes a lot of time. Good grief, some of the coding questions on those. You guys, nobody should have to sit there writing 3 pages of Java on a test. That's just cruel and unusual.
Yeah, the last one, last semester was 3 pages long. God,
Yeah.
it was very easy to get lost in the sauce.
Yeah. Okay, are we good for this one then? Cool. Oh, hey, I didn't see that. There you go. And that actually gives you like the name of the array that you were supposed to output. That's fine. Alright. Again, that's not really the sort of thing that I'm nitpicky about. As I've said previously, I don't normally need to be nitpicky about that sort of thing. I can, I'm normally not needing to look for reasons to fail people. They're usually pretty obvious, unfortunately. So, here we go. Question 4. Imagine you have a JSON file formatted like this. People who owe me money.json.
You went out for this one.
Now imagine you wanted to convert this to a CSV file with the same content, like so. People who owe me money.csv. And you can see it's the same format in both cases, right? So, write a PHP program which will convert a JSON file into a CSV file according to the formatting given above. Assuming, of course, that the JSON file is formatted as an array of arrays with no objects. Don't make any assumptions about the number of arrays in the JSON file or how many elements you'll have per array. Hint, this question would be quite painful if you process the file as a string. Hint, hint. I made a mistake and I forgot to give an extra page. People would just write on the back of the page. But I had one guy. 5 lines is what he was given. 5 lines is what he gave me. Perfect solution too. And that guy went on to win a Ontario skills competition in programming for this school. So yeah, he won first place gold medal. Anyway, doesn't matter. He won a big contest, and we were very proud of him because, like, we have good programmers too. It's amazing. You guys are good programmers when you put minds to it. You know? Everybody can win a contest. Sometimes. Depends on the contest. Everybody can win a donut at the Roll Up the Ribbon. Although if you don't have money to pay for a coffee, then you can't win anything at Roll Up the Ribbon. Can you? I digress. You may notice that the JSON is an array of arrays, right? Just like that. So, this is another file I/O question. Question.
Do we have to handle that extra foot on the third array, fast string?
There's an extra oh,
Yeah.
third string?
Third array, fast string. Yeah.
Oh. No, that was a typo. Good job. You're going to do really well on the spot the syntax error part. Yeah. So we're reading JSON. How do we read JSON?
JSON decode.
That's how we decode it.
I'll get content.
How do we read it off the file system? Hmm?
File get contents.
That's the one.
Take one.
There we go. File get contents. Why did I leave a blank here?
Because in that case, JSON
JSON decode. Remember that there's another argument on that one.
True.
True if you want it as an associative array. You don't have to use it as an associative array. You can do it as an object if you want, but this is the way we did it in class, right? So we have our data. Next, we have to write the data into a file.
I have a question.
Yes.
So you're taking the JSON and you're putting it again inside the same file, or is it a different file that you put in all the information?
The file I'm reading in, peoplewhooowememony.json. The file I am producing, peoplewhooowememony.csv.
So you're creating a new file. That file is already created.
That's right.
Okay.
There are a couple of different ways you can do this. Right? One way is you can use fput.csv, which will take an array, write it into the file as a line. Right? You'll need the file though, so you should fopen it. Oh, and by the way, if you want to get fancy about number of lines of code, you can always just use semicolons and put everything on one line. Then you only have one line of code. People who owe me money.csv. For each data as line fput.csv file handle line fclose. getting close though. You want to know the secret? This can be inline. There you go. Another approach that you could take, you could use well, no, like, so if you don't want to use fput CSV, you can also manually insert the commas, right? Now, it's painful to do that in a loop, but you can also, like, I think we used it once or twice. There's a function called explode that will, like, take something separated by commas and split it into an array. Well, guess what, folks? What's the opposite of exploding? Implode. So the implode operation is the opposite of the explode operation. You just specify comma as the separator and give it the array, and it will smack it together for you. And that is basically what fput CSV is actually doing. That's kind of like the way to do this neatly if you forgot that this exists, right? Then you just say like fwrite implode comma line, and you get to the same place in a slightly more circuitous manner. But yeah, any questions? Any questions about text? Everybody feeling confident? No? Oh. Well, just use your feelings of inconfidence to, use the worrying energy to actually study instead of just, eating cake and stuff that's bad for you.
Yeah, I think the worst thing you can do is swagger into a test fully confident that you're gonna ace it, because then you just sit down in front of it and you're like, I don't understand any of this.
Oh man, I've seen it happen.
So bad for those people.
I saw one guy in tears.
Poor guy.
Yeah. Yeah. Man, was it? There was the guy I'm thinking about. This was actually in high school when I was in high school, which was of course 1,000 billion years ago. But let me think. Have I ever made somebody cry with a test?
I remember first year when I was at Mac, like I was like a different faculty, the engineering people. Their first day or something, they got like basically a pop-up test,
Yes.
and there were people crying.
Oh no, that's
It was actually from ours. It was just being a joke, but
that's a notorious hazing ritual that they do in the engineering faculty. It's like they take you as firsties just out of high school, and they sit you down in front of a second year calculus test. Yeah. Well, it's not that bad actually. It's only second year calculus, but second year calculus to a poor high school student who doesn't even necessarily know what a differential is like. And they always lead you in with like a couple of questions that are kind of like, they start off at your level, then they ramp them up quickly. Yeah. Oh, and when they did, because I participated in this ritual as well. Not that I was on the receiving end, not on the giving end, but they had like this like plant in the room that they just tore into this person because they were cheating, and they get out of the room, you dirty cheater, and it was like. Oh man, good times. Not that you'd be able to get away with that these days, of course.
so.
Ooh, like on an assignment, yes, but I wasn't looking for it here. Yeah. Like, in general, anytime you touch data, you should filter it. But, yeah, for this one, like, let me put it to you this way. If the question says, worry about filtering, worry about filtering. This question didn't say worry about filtering, so. Any other questions?
So these would be, like, these kinds of functions would be good to put on our cheat sheets, right? If there won't be like a syntax sheet attached to the midterm?
There will not be a syntax reference sheet attached to the midterm. You saw the one I had, right?
Yeah, the blue one. We're not gonna have that then.
This thing?
Yeah, buildings and stuff.
Yeah. Like, look it over. There are a couple of, like, most of the useful stuff is here. But, like, basically, this is like an instance of if you want something done right, you gotta do it yourself. But I didn't have time to do this. So, this is what I had. Yeah, they hated this thing, you know, because like, you know, string position, which is like the one that actually solves that problem, doesn't even appear here, you know. But yeah, so you can look at this. Look at it.
It's a good framework.
It's a good framework, yeah, but in general, yeah. Work on your cheat sheets. Oh, one more thing about cheat sheets. Don't get the chatbot to make it for you, and also don't get anybody else to make it for you either. Like, I'm not going to be checking, obviously, but like, if you use someone else's cheat sheet, you're robbing yourself of the best opportunity you will have to study for the test. Yes.
You could use the string instead of the string parts, so you would be able to use the string.
Yeah, it's a little trickier though, because it returns a string.
It also returns false if you just want that.
Oh, does it? Oh, good. Well, there you go. But like, you know, it's not like it says anything like that, anything useful like that there, right?
You got no idea what it returns.
Yeah. So, what was I talking about? Cheat sheets, yes. So cheat sheets.